fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The memory still clings to me, a phantom sensation on my skin, the night I trespassed upon the vampire's domain. It wasn't a grand Gothic castle perched on a craggy precipice, as the stories often depicted. No, this was something far more insidious, far more real, a festering wound carved into the very underbelly of the city. The air hung heavy, thick with the cloying sweetness of aged blood, mingled with the sharper, almost metallic tang of dark magic. It prickled my nostrils, a strange and unsettling perfume that spoke of ancient rituals and things best left undisturbed. The alley was a claustrophobic maze of brick and shadow, the only illumination coming from a scattering of cheap, flickering candles. Each flame danced with a life of its own, casting grotesque shadows that writhed and shifted on the damp stone walls. They were like restless spirits trapped between worlds. My skin prickled, an instinctive alarm screaming at me to turn back, to flee into the relative safety of the gaslit streets above. But curiosity, that relentless and dangerous mistress, held me captive. Every nerve ending was alive, thrumming with a potent mix of fear and exhilaration. It was a high I both craved and loathed. What secrets lay hidden in this forgotten place? What truths would I unearth? The narrow alley twisted and turned, each corner promising a revelation or a threat. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the frantic hammering of my own heart and the distant rumble of the city, a muffled roar that seemed miles away. Then I felt it, a weight pressing down on me, a tangible force that stole the air from my lungs. His gaze, he was watching me. I couldn't see him, but I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that he was there, lurking in the shadows, observing my every move. It was as if invisible tendrils were wrapping around me, tightening their grip with each step I took. My breath hitched in my throat, a silent plea for him to reveal himself. And then he did. He emerged from the darkness as if summoned, a figure sculpted from shadows and moonlight. His face was pale, almost ethereal, his features sharp and aristocratic. But it was his eyes that held me captive, twin pools of liquid darkness that seemed to pierce through my very soul. They locked onto mine with an intensity that burned, a possessive fire that promised both pleasure and pain. He moved with a grace that belied his predatory nature, closing the distance between us in a heartbeat. The air crackled with unspoken power, a silent challenge that resonated deep within my bones. I knew I should be terrified, should be running for my life, but I was rooted to the spot, mesmerized by his dark allure. "Humans are beneath vampires," he purred, his voice a silken whisper that wrapped around me like a velvet noose. It was a voice designed to seduce, to control, to break the will of its listener. "You're just livestock to us." The words were a slap in the face, a stark reminder of the power imbalance between us. A wave of defiance surged through me, fueled by a lifetime of fighting for my place in a world that constantly tried to diminish me. My chest tightened, but I refused to cower, refused to let him see my fear. "I don't think you know what livestock is, do you?" I retorted, my voice surprisingly steady, a fragile shield against his overwhelming presence. "Do you feed us, care for us, protect us from predators? No, you just slink around dark alleys and ambush people. That's not what a higher being does, that's a parasite." A flicker of something, surprise, anger, perhaps even a grudging respect, crossed his face. His eyes darkened, the storm within them intensifying. I had struck a nerve. Good. He stepped closer, the heat radiating from his body washing over me, intoxicating and dangerous. I could smell him now, a heady mix of ancient spices and something wild, untamed. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence of the alley. My resolve wavered, threatened by the undeniable pull he exerted. "Tell me, little human," he murmured, his breath a warm caress against my ear, sending shivers down my spine. "What do you think it means to be a higher being?" His proximity was a weapon designed to disorient and weaken. My body betrayed me, responding to him in ways I couldn't control. A traitorous warmth bloomed in my belly, a primal urge that threatened to overwhelm my reason. I leaned into him, drawn by an invisible force, a moth to his deadly flame. "It means being a guardian," I whispered, my voice trembling, barely audible. The word felt inadequate, a pathetic offering against his power, but it was the truth, the core belief that had guided my life. "It means using your power to defend, not to destroy." His fingers brushed against my cheek, the touch sending a jolt of electricity through my veins. It was a light, almost hesitant touch, but it held a promise of something more, something deeper. For a moment the world narrowed, the city noises fading into a distant hum. There was only us, the vampire and the woman who dared to challenge him. locked in a silent battle of wills. His gaze intensified, searching my face as if trying to decipher the secrets hidden within my soul. I met his eyes, refusing to look away, determined to show him that I was not afraid. And in that moment I knew this was only the beginning. A dangerous game had begun, a dance between predator and prey, a collision of two worlds, and I, fool that I was eager to see where it would lead. He finally broke the silence, a slow smile spreading across his lips. "Perhaps," he said, his voice laced with amusement, "you are not so beneath us after all." He released me, stepping back into the shadows, melting into the darkness from whence he came, but the weight of his gaze remained, a constant reminder of the encounter. I stood there for a long moment, catching my breath, trying to regain my composure. The air was still thick with the scent of blood and magic, the echoes of his voice still ringing in my ears. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic tattoo against my ribs. I turned and walked away, back towards the light, towards the world I knew. But I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that I would never be the same.